Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiret nashprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadi Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Prem Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we welcome everyone for joining us for today's program. All is okay? All right. So welcome all for this Bhagavat Life program, under which we have been studying Srimad Bhagavatam all this while. And we have come to the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we're on the 12th chapter. And this is, we just took some time for this chapter. It's such a beautiful chapter. So this is the third session on the third canto 12th chapter. And we have discussed until now 19 verses. And we'll begin our discussion from the 20th verse. The last episode or the last scene, what happened from where we are beginning is Brahmaji manifested Rudra, gave him the service to create, gave him the wife Rudrani, but didn't define exactly what the goal, what the result should look like. Not having clarity, Rudra created, Rudra means one who cries and who makes others cry. And Rudra created similar kind of living entities which began to cause havoc right at the beginning of the creation. Brahmaji called Rudra and told him, "Stop it. What have you done?" And what happens next is what we're going to discuss now from the 20th verse. So all of you would need to take a look at the verses. then only you relate to it. Oh, we have it over here. Fantastic. Good, good. So 1 second, please. Maitriyavacha evamatma bhuvadishtaha parikramya giram patim badham iti amam amantriya vivesha tapase vanam. This is the 20th verse. Sri Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penance. You can share this when you're having it, so we can have it for online audience also. So, yeah, addressing him with words of assent, which means Rudra accepted the order of Brahmaji and he went to the forest to perform penance. Haribol, attention. Yeah, share screen, that's all. Zoom, no more discussions now. Text number 21. Just reading few verses, then we'll start with the translation. Atabhidhyayatah sargam dashaputra prajagnire bhakvashakti yuktasya loka sanatana hetavaha. Brahma was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities, and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generation. Who are these 10 sons? These are Manasik Putras. Mariche Atri Angirasho Pulastaya Pulaha Kratuhu Braga Vashishto Dakshascha Dashima Tatra Narada. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastaya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhragu, Vashisht, Daksha, and the 10 sons, Narada, were born. Like this is described here. So 22 to 24 verses talk about the birth of the 10 sages, Manasik Putra. Next verse talks about how they were born. Ussanganarado Jagne Daksho Anugashata Swayambhu Prana Vashishtaha Sanjato Mrigustuchi Karat Kratuhu. Nada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is best part of his body. Vashishta was born from his breathing. Daksha from a thumb. Mrigu from his touch, skin. And Kratu from his hand. Like this. And Papa talks about what does this deliberation means. Reading first few lines of the puppet. Nada was born from the best deliberation of Brahma because Nada was able to deliver the Supreme Lord to anyone he liked. Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be realized by any amount of Vedic knowledge, by any number of penances, but a pure devotee of the Lord, Nada can deliver the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his goodwill, like this. Text number 24. What about the birth of other sages? Pulahanabhito jagge pulastaya karanayo rishihi angiramukato kshnotri maricha manaso abhavat. Pulastaya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. I don't know, I'm just kind of feel like I can do it. So, anyone knows just one quick thing about any of the sages? Marichi, what first thing comes to your mind? His 6 sons became the sons of Devaki. We'll read about the pastime. It's coming in this chapter only. Vak and the sons of Marichi laughed at Brahma, and that Brahmaji cursed them. And these are the 6 sons who took birth as the sons of Devaki. That is Marichi. Atri Muni, what comes to your mind?
Anusuya.
Anusuya. All right. That's a counterpart name. What else can we think of? Atri Muni. Atri and Anusuya, what did they do? Dattatare. Dattatare, yes. So Atri Muni, father of the three great personalities. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh appeared to him. From Brahmaji came Som. From Lord Shiva came Daksha. And from Vishnu came Dattatreya. That is Atri and Anasuya. All right. Angira Muni. Angira Muni. Angira Muni. Angira Muni. Pulastaya. विराट कोहली.
Ravan.
अरे हंस रहे हो विराट कोहली का नाम सुनते ही? Hey, you can take out the screen, Prabhu. Why the screen is there now? Okay. Kratu. भृगु मुनि. भृगु तो भाई है, भृगु हर घर का नाम. भृगु बताओ क्या है भृगु? So all the sages. It was Vashishta. So at one point in time, all the sages were discussing who among these three divinities are the most sacred. So everyone said, let's go to Vashishta. He would find out. Vashishta said, nothing doing. I recommend Bhrigu Muni. He passed out his job to Bhrigu Muni. And Bhrigu Muni came and did that. All right. Vashishta. Vashishta Muni. Vashishta Muni, yes. Ram, Lord Ram. Okay. Daksha. Daksha and Shiv pastime. All right. Daksha, Pracheta. No, Pracheta's son was Daksha. Like this. So I mean, say the full thing. You just said Pracheta. I got confused because I thought you were saying son. Okay, like this. All right. Next, number 25 now. Dharmasthana dakshinato yatra narayana swayam adharmaha prashtato yasman mrityuloka bhayankara. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein seated the Supreme Personality Godhead Narayana, and irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity. So, religion and irreligion, everything has manifested ultimately from the Lord only. Here, Brahma is on the instruction of the Lord creating. So, even if there is adharma that is not independently manifesting. So, religion was created by Brahma. Religion is bhakti, devotional service, and adharma is distaste for bhakti. That's how Prabhupada explains in the purport. Text number 26. Hridi kamo brava krodo lopachadhara dachchadan asyad vaksindavo medhan niratihi payur aghashaya. Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma. Anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean from his genitals, and low and abominable activities from his anus, the source of all sins. A very beautiful purport where Prabhupada does a fantastic analysis of lust, desire, anger. Prabhupada says, reading from the 5th line in the purport, when one is frustrated in lust and desires, anger is generated from the mind and expressed from between the eyebrows. Ordinary men are therefore advised to concentrate the mind by focusing on the place between the eyebrows, whereas the devotees of the Lord are already practiced to place the Supreme Personality Godhead on the seat of their minds. The theory of becoming desireless is untenable because mind can never be desireless. When it is recommended that one become desireless, it is understood that one should not desire things which are destructive to spiritual values, like this. Then few lines below, the power of speaking is also created. So Prabhupada said, the power of speaking is called Saraswati, right? कोई बहुत eloquent speaker है तो कहते हैं सरस्वती उसकी जिह्वा पे बैठी है. He can really use the words in a very interesting way, poetic way. The power of speaking is called Saraswati, or the goddess of learning, and the birthplace of the goddess of learning is the mouth of Brahma. Even if a man is endowed with the favor of the goddess of learning, it is quite possible for his heart to be full of lust and material desire. His eyebrows to display symptoms of anger. One may be very learned in the mundane estimation, but that does not mean that he is free from all low activities of lust and anger. Good qualifications can be expected only from a pure devotee who is always engaged in the thought of the Lord on his samadhi with faith. So, just one or 2 points on this desire or lust and consequent anger here. The point is when your mind is lusty, which means filled with desires, and the nature of this world is only a fraction of your desires will be fulfilled. And when you have a huge backlog of your desires, which means it builds up into a sense of anxiety, stress, because you're not able to fulfill that, isn't it? When this goes heavy and frustrated, when the mind is angry, then you look at the face can never blossom. Now, if you look at the verse Shashakam, Chito Darpanam Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavag Nirvapanam, Shreyo Kerva Chandrika. Why it is said blossoming of the flower? The point is when you take to Krishna consciousness, when you take to spiritual life, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, your mind becomes free from desires. It's just something like imagine you're carrying a heavy weight on your head. Can you really be in a smiling situation? Really heavy weight. And when that weight is taken off by the practice of devotional life, then the flower, it's just a flower blossoms. Like that, the face of a devotee blossoms. So in general, the best preaching is not through speaking. Best preaching is by showing of example. So if devotees are not happy, if they're not experiencing joy, when a karmi will look at you, will tell, मैं ही बहुत अच्छा हूँ, तेरी शक्ल देख के तो मुझे दुख हो रहा है. So कृपा करके be conscious of this thing. Don't make your life terrible and horrible because of the mind. All right, text number 27. Sage Kadama, husband of the great devotee, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. This all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma. Like this, the 10 sages were born, and then the 11th is mentioned here as Kardama Muni. Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the 5th or the 6th line, therefore all the sons generated from the body or the mind of Brahma were in the mode of passion and ignorance. But some of them, like Kadama, were born in the mode of goodness. Narada was born in the transcendental state of Brahma. Now, text number 28 to text number 31 comes the infamous Vak episode. I'll also not speak much. I'll just focus on Prabhupada purport, what it is. I will take a look at it. Vak, what happens about who is this Vak? Let's take a look at it. Text number 20, I'll read the translations now. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined toward him. Now, Prabhupada, let's take a look at Prabhupada, but I don't give any commentary here. So, where do I start with? Okay, let's start with the purport. Maybe we can just read this purport here. Balvan indriyo gramo vidvamsham apikarshati. It is said that the senses are so mad and strong that they can bewilder even the most sensible and learned men. It's not only about the senses. Senses are ultimately governed by the mind. When it is referred to senses, actually referred to a mind. And therefore, Arjuna says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavad dridam. Tasyaham nigraham anye vayuriva sudushkaram. It breaks all the walls of morality. If it decides for anything, it will not care for anything. That's the point here. Therefore, it is advised that one should not indulge in living alone, even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. What to speak of interacting in a private forum with a lady student, or vice versa. Vidvamsam vikarishati means that even the most learned also becomes victim of the sensuous urge. Maitreya hesitated to state this anomaly on the part of Brahma, who was sexually inclined to his own daughter, but still he mentioned it because sometimes it so happens, and the living example is Brahma himself. Although he is a primeval living being and the most learned within the whole universe. If Brahma could be a victim of the sexual urge, then what of others who are prone to so many mundane frivolities? This extraordinary immorality on the part of Brahma was hard to have occurred in some particular kalpa, but it could not happen in the kalpa in which Brahma heard directly from the Lord the four essential verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have read in the second canto, Lord appeared and spoke four verses, one of the four seed verses of Bhagavatam. And then Krishna told him, now expand. And that's how he spoke. This whole Bhagavatam comes out like this. So Prabhupada is saying, this cannot be Brahma of this kalpa, because this is in this life, in this day of Brahma, is when he had heard these four verses from Krishna or Vishnu, I'll call it for that reason. It was Krishna actually, like this. So Prabhupada is saying, this incident that happened in Brahma, it must be on some other day. The day of Brahma is called as kalpa. It should be in another day, cannot be this day. Why? Because Lord benefited Brahma after giving him lessons on the Bhagavatam that he would never be bewildered in any kalpa whatsoever. Because that indicates that before the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, he might have fallen a victim, but after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam directly from the Lord, there was no possibility of such failure. One should, however, take serious note of this incident. Human being is a social animal, and his unrestricted mixing with the fair sex leads to downfall. ये prophecy है, fact है. It's not something which Prabhupada is prophesizing, bhavishya mein hoga. There's no debate on it. Such social freedom of man and woman, especially among the younger section, is certainly a great stumbling block on the path of spiritual progress. Material bondage is due only to sexual bondage. Therefore, unrestricted association of man and woman is surely a great impediment. Text number 29. Thus, finding their father so deluded in an act of immorality, the sages headed by Marichi and all sons of Brahma spoke as follows with great respect. Text number 30. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe, so how is it that you want to have indulgence with your daughter and you cannot control your desire? Prabhupada says, please note, Brahma, the living entity, who is the most pious and spiritually elevated, is entrusted with the post of Brahma. The point here is Brahma, the one who gets the position of Brahma, like somebody gets a post of Prime Minister and Chief Minister, right? Who gets the post of Brahma? The one who had been the most pious in this whole material universe. Most noble and the most pious individual acquires the post of Brahma. Now, even the most pious, any other example you can think of? With a pious individual, very pious, not acknowledged only by humans of this world. In fact, the Devatas acknowledge and recognize him to be the very pious individual, and he fell victim to his senses eventually. Hare Krishna.
Daksha Prajapati?
Daksha, no, that was anger. We're talking about the sexual impulse right now. That kind of a thing, envy, because of which that can happen. We're talking about this is a gross.
Indra?
Oh yeah, Indra himself became victim. Indra.
Vishwamitra.
Lord Shiva fell victim to Mohini Roop, Prabhuji.
Shiva.
तो यार वो तो भगवान विष्णु करेंगे तो कौन बचेगा? Which is correct. I'm just saying it is too far out, isn't it? So correct. Thank you for that. Saubari Muni. Okay. So आप लोग अभी भागवतम से सारे वो केस स्टडीज निकाल रहे हो जहाँ जहाँ ऐसा हुआ है. I'm particularly hinting towards the ancestors of Pandavas.
Nahusha.
King Yayati.
Nahusha.
Oh, Nahusha. Yayati, of course. But more, you're missing the point here. The point I'm saying, where everyone acknowledged him to be a pious soul. Nahusa, Surya Devta, Varuna, they all came on this planet and they requested Nahusa to become the king of heaven. You take the post of Indra. Every sage, every Devta acknowledged the piety of Nahusa. Nahusa didn't want it. He felt himself utterly disqualified for it. And because they pleaded, requested, imagine Surya Devta standing on your door saying, Prabhu, chalo, aapki 16 mala bahut hui. Abhi aap Indra ki gaddi pe baitho. Ab aap shuddh ho gaye. Like that was the thing with Nahusa. And he acknowledged, finally he went. And what happened? Of all, can you imagine? Don't imagine. Of all, when you already have so many apsaras there, I mean, he fell victim to Mother Sachi, the wife of Indra, in the absence of Indra. So this is far out. So that's the point here. Okay, text number 31. Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for your spiritual improvement by people in general. So last few lines. Similarly, Brahma remains unimpeachable in all conditions, but still, since he is the spiritual master of all living entities, behavior and character should be so ideal that people will follow such sublime behavior and derive the highest spiritual benefit. Therefore, he should not have acted as he did. Text number 32. Tasmai namo bhagavate ya idam svena rochisa atmastham vayanjayamas sadharmam patamarhati. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality Godhead, who by his own effulgence, while situated himself, has manifested his cosmos. May he also protect religion for all goodness. But this is the prayer offered by the sons of Brahma, who began to pray to the Lord. May the good sense, descend to Brahma. Text number 33. The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, the seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up his body. He had accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness. So, what exactly happened with Brahma? Prabhupada writes in the Prabhupada. And what does it mean giving up his body? So, okay, maybe I can summarize this. So, how do I put it? Don't look at the incident and judge a person. Look at what has happened in totality and then understand. That is called as broad-mindedness. The people who speak a lot are the ones who are the most narrow-minded, who are very quick to judge. Now, why did Brahma ended up there? Because he was engaged in passionate activity of creation. Creation is a passionate activity. Because he was engaged in the passionate activities of creation, therefore he got carried away by passion. Not that Brahma had any history of such kind of incident prior, nor after that. So what had happened is, because he was in the already state of passion, his mentality became contaminated and those thoughts arose in his mind. He didn't do anything, but the thoughts came into his mind. So when he said he gave up the body, which means he gave up that subtle body, those thoughts. He realized that, what am I thinking? This is so shameful of me. So gave up his body. You have gross body, subtle body. So gave up the subtle body. You getting the point? That's the point here. I hope you got it. Brahma has a fabulous duration life, but he was obliged to give his body due to his grievous sin, even though he had merely contemplated in his mind without having actually done it. This is a lesson for the living entities, showing how sinful an act it is to indulge in unrestricted sex life. They want to think of abominable sex life as sinful, and to compensate for such sinful acts, one has to give up his body. In other words, one's duration of life, blessings, opulences, etc., are decreased by sinful acts. And the most dangerous type of sinful act is unrestricted sex. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, or sinful life is the cause of gross ignorance. The feature of that ignorance is darkness or fog. Darkness of fog still covers the whole universe, and the sun is the only counteracting principle. Have you ever, do you remember those old days horror movies? भूत हमेशा फॉग के पीछे से निकलता था. You remember? वो धुआं फैल जाता था, fog. And एकदम से, and वो डिम सा चंद्रमा नजर आता था. Some song is playing in my head right now, but I'm not just able to get those lyrics. 80s की बड़ी famous movie थी वो एक प्रकार की. Something like that, you remember? Like that, and full dark and the fog like this. Anyways, okay, let's come back. Okay, text number 34. All right. So that episode is over, about the Vak episode here. What had happened and what did Brahma do? Now 34 to text number 49, Brahma's further creation has been described. We'll just take a look at it quickly. Text number 34. We can have devotees on to read, raise their hands, and they can read translation and call upon. Text number 34. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds as in the past millenniums, the 4 Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his 4 mouths. That's the point here. Text number 35. And Prabhupada is, okay, is worthy of making point here. Prabhupada was saying that how kind Krishna is, that when a devotee is willing to undergo reformation, he forgives him. Although Brahma did such a grievous offense, sin, because for people like him to think only is a great sin. Yet Krishna did not take him from the position. When he reformed himself, he was allowed to continue with the service. That's the point Prabhupada says here. Text number 35. The 4 kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. Now, what are the 4 kinds of paraphernalia? 1, chanter. 2, yajaman, the fire, and the action performed in terms of supplementary Vedas. And then 4 principles of dharma got manifested, which is truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, like this. And those who follow these principles of dharma, Prabhupada calls, they are called as Aryans. Aryans means progressive human beings. Text number 36, Vidura said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth. Maitri Muni says, Maitri Vacham, Rig Yajaho Sama Atharva Akhyan Vedan Purvadbhir Mukhe Shastram Ijyan Suti Stomam Prashishtam Vyedatat Kraman. Maitri said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, the Vedic hymns, which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, subject matter of the recitation, and transcendental activities were all established one after another. Text number 38. He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. So medical science, you can call it Ayurveda, military arts, Dhanur, Ved, etc., musical arts, Sare, Gama, Padanisa, architectural science, construction, all came from Vedas. I mean, think about it. How did a human being learn to build such a big structures? Now you may say, Prabhuji, this is advancement. But matter of fact is, this kind of structure was existing before also. Only the construction style have changed. You go to South India, you have buildings, you have temples as high as this tower in which you're sitting in. This is made of cement and brick. And those temples are made of granite stones. You can't even cut it. Even today, the technology fails while trying to cut granite stones. And the most heaviest and hardest stone, how can you ever lift it? So those are all technology, that existed. And from where it all came? From the Vedic scriptures. Then what did Brahma do? Itihasa Puranani Panchamam Vedam Ishwaraha Sarvebhya eva Vaktribhya Sasarje Sarvadarshinaha. Then he created the 5th Veda, the Purana, the histories from all his mouths, since he could see all the past, present, and future. Text 40. All the different varieties of fire sacrifice became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma. Next, education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this from there are four orders of life with different classifications of caste according to vocation. This is Varnashrama. Dharma is being talked about. Then text number 42. Savitram prajapatyam cha brahmam chat brahattata varta sanchaya shalina shilon cha iti vahegrahe. Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as are the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in house life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected greens. This is largely about student life, which is mentioned. Text number 43. All right, Anshul, start reading.
The four divisions of retired life are the Vaikhanas, Valakyalas, Audamburas,
Continue.
and Phenafas. Four divisions of the renounced order of life are the Kutik Chakas,
Yeah, continue.
Bahavodas, Hamsas, and Niskriyas. All
So is it okay sound? Somebody said their echo. I hope the sound is okay now. You can confirm. Continue.
All these were manifested from Brahma. Text 44. The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymns Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranava Omkar was manifested from his heart.
This is Gayatri Mantra. Continue.
Text 45. Thereafter, the art of literary expression Usnik was generated from the hairs of the body of Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn Gayatri was generated from the skin, the Tristup from the flesh, Anustup from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities. Text 46. The art of writing verse Pankti became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of Brihati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of living entities. Text 47. Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabets, his body as the vowels, his senses as the sibilant alphabets, his strength as the intermediate alphabet, and his sensual activities are the 7 notes of music. Text 48.
Hare Krishna. This is a very interesting verse here, which means, Prabhupada writes, there are 13 vowels and 35 consonants in Sanskrit. And this all has manifested from Brahma. And then there is also what is called as musical notes, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni. All these sound vibrations are originally called Shabda Brahma. So just for those who are music lovers, even your practice of Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dina, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa, Ni, Dha, Pa, Ma, Ga, Pa, Ma, Re, Ma, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, like this, right? So there's a different combinations when you practice. That is also considered a chanting. Okay? There's also a chanting. This is Shabda Brahma. This produces a tremendous amount of mode of goodness. That is what the point Shabda Brahma. So those who are music lovers, do it, then do it wholeheartedly in the sense, do recite this. Just don't play. So you get to chant also. That's the point mentioned here. This is spiritual sound. Sarigama Padha Nisa is a spiritual sound. It is said, therefore, that Brahma was created in Mahakalpa as incarnation of spiritual sound, like this. The Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there is no need of material interpretation for the sound vibration of the Vedic literature. The Vedas should be vibrated as they are, although they are symbolically presented with letters which are known to us mentally. So Vedas should be chanted, which means recitation of verses is very, very potent for our intelligence. All right, text number 48.
Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies.
Yeah, he's a son born of Brahma, a son born of the Lord only. So it's not somebody who can be, ignored like that. Text number 49.
Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation.
So Brahma therefore had to accept another body to allow himself to be connected with sex. He thus engaged himself in the matter of creation, and his former body transformed into a fog, as previously described. Again, it refers to subtle body. Text number 50.
O son of the Kurus, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased.
So, just for those who I don't know what you're thinking about what's going on right now. Once again, right now in this whole creation, you had Brahma, 4 Kumāras who walked away. Then you had Rudra who was sent away. Then you had 10 Manasik Putras. They were also wandering somewhere. And they all were given the task to create. How do you create? Then there has to be a system, a process to be defined through which creation can happen. Are you getting the point here? It's a very important concept. The job of Brahma was to populate this universe from all the rebellious souls. How do you get rebellious souls a form? How do you get the material body? Just like 4 Kumāras said, no, we are not interested. Can I create something so that nobody ever can come and tell me, not interested? And I don't have to instruct them, create. They'll be eagerly looking when I can create. Getting that? That is what is called as sex life. And that whole description will come here. Now, as I said in the beginning also, we are coming on third canto. Maybe, how many of you here have not heard first and second canto? Yeah, we got to change the subject matter for you all now. But there are going to be many things. Or else you can hear, but if you feel disturbed, rather than looking at the right connotation, if you get stuck on the previous connotation only, and you're harping on it, then you let us know. And, we'll separate this forum like this. Because there will be a blunt discussion on the nature of sex life. So just hearing the subject matter like this, if you're getting a little bewildered or caught up with that, then we got to hold on. Go back to first canto, start hearing from that like that, okay? So Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there's still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny. So how do I do that? And then manifested motherhood of woman. Text number 52. Evam yukta kritastasya daivam chavekshatastada kasya rupam abhudveda yatkayam avichakshate. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation, was observing the supernatural power, 2 other forms were generated from his body. And who was those? Swayambhuva Manu and Satrupa. In other words, first human being, first male and female in that sense. The 2 nearly separate bodies unite together in a sexual relationship. Text number 54. Out of them, one who had male form became known as Swayambhuva Manu, and the mother became known as Shatrupa, the queen of the great soul, Manu. Text number 55. Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generations of population one after another. So, who were the sons and daughters of Swayambhuva Manu? Name the daughters. How many daughters he had? Daughters, Ray. Akrutini, Akuti, Prasuti, Devuti. And the sons, as you rightly said, who was the eldest among the 2? Putana. Uttana. Priyavarat. Priyavat Maharaj. Priyavat Maharaj said no, therefore Uttanapada episode comes forward. Okay? Text number 54 is done, right? Text number 50. I come to the conclusion chapter. So, it's a earlier, 55. Text number 56. O son of Bharat, in due course of time, he begot in Satruva 5 children, 2 sons, Priyavarat, Uttanapada, 3 daughters, Akuti, Devuti, and Prasuti. Text number 57. Now, this has really become exciting. You're going to go into the history of how everything came and what all happened. Abhi majadar stories aati hai. Text number 57. The father Manu handed over his first daughter Akuti to the sage Ruchi. The middle daughter Devuti to the sage Kardama Muni. and the youngest Prasuti to Daksha. This subject matter will again come back in the 4th canto, 1st chapter. From them, all the world was filled with the population. Purport. The history of the creation of the population of the universe is given herewith. Brahma is the original living creature, and from whom came Swayambhuva Manu and Shatrupa. And like that, everything else happened. Oh, fantastic. They are the last puppet, actually. I can read the puppet. From Manu, 2 sons and 3 daughters were born, and from them, all the population of different planets has sprung up until now. Therefore, Brahma is known as the grandfather of everyone. The personality of Godhead, being the father of Brahma, is known as the great grandfather of all living beings. This is confirmed Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, verse number 39, as follows. Translation: You are the Lord of air, the supreme justice Yama, the fire and the Lord of rains. You are the moon, you are the great grandfather. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again and again. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 3rd canto, 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Kumāras and Others. And what can I tell you? Now starts such a fascinating story. Appearance of Varahadev. And this is gonna get exciting now. Then we'll have appearance of Varahadev. Why did Varahadev appear? To kill Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakashipu episode will come here. That's the point. In brief. Now, Pare, हिरण्याक्ष हिरण्यकश्यप की बात हुई तो प्रश्न तो बनेगा ये जल्लाद किसके पुत्र थे? I'm just joking. I mean to say these demons are whose sons? You know? I mean, so that's how the next chapter matter comes. Chapter number 14, pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Diti and Kashyapa Muni. From Diti came Daityas, and these are the 2 sons of Diti, like this. That will be the subject matter in the next chapter. And then, oh, really? So Vidura would be informed. Well, they were not demoniac from the beginning. In fact, they were Jay and Vijay. Oh, how did Jay and Vijay fell in this world? Then the story will come of 4 Kumāras going to Jay Vijay. And we'll go back to the spiritual world. We'll read the description of the kingdom of God in the 15th chapter. And it is amazing. Jay Vijay cursed, chapter number 16. Like that, there are chapter number 13, 14, 4 chapters remaining in this first volume of 3rd canto. And the 2nd volume of the 3rd canto will have major portion of it covered in Kadamuni and Devhuti's story, and then later on Lord Kapila's teachings. It just gets exciting more and more as you go forward. All right. So thank you all for your kind attention. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. किसी का कोई टिप्पणी or comment? Yes, Dhananjay Prabhu. Narada was 10th son of Brahma. मुझे लगा tensed. Why did Narada become tensed? Yeah, 10th son. Yes. Yes. No. This is not time of creation. This is Kalpa. This is Kalpa. This is not time of. This is not the first day of the life of Brahma. This is Kalpa, which means the creation has already been going on. It is not the primary creation. Primary creation have already happened. Secondary creation got annihilated at the night of Brahma, and when he wakes up, so that story of Narad Muni is from the previous day of Brahma, like that. Okay. All right. So we can.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
I'll
Can I
conclude with the
ask?
online forum.
Hare Krishna.
Online एक क्वेश्चन है.
Can I ask Prabhuji?
आपको सेटिंग चेंज करना पड़ेगा ताकि मुझे सुनाई दे. ऐसा है. All right. I can hear the online audience now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
So Prabhuji, my question was, yes. So my question was, like now Brahma's sons, they saw their father, doing wrong things, and they kind of chastised him. But the thing is that they never lost their. Also Brahma also, he accepted his mistake, whatever. But they didn't lose any respect for him later on. But in our day-to-day life, we see that if we have some senior, forget about this much of a thing. But even if something which seemingly, we don't agree with, or seemingly wrong, if we see, it becomes very difficult to, for us to maintain that same level of respect that we had before. So how,
The only reason is because we are too attracted to the stool. So wherever we see little stool, we get pulled over there. And we keep harping on those wrong things. Whereas we're talking about the most pious living entities of the world, they saw a little discrepancy, knowing that the rest of the life of Brahma was a clean chit. And of course, things happen. And the Lord have forgiven him, the seniors have forgiven him. So there's no question of they keeping. So ultimately, it depends on what's our consciousness. Our consciousness enjoys or gets more gratification. Now, news only focuses only on the wrong things, breaking news, because that's what people like. So that's where in this world our heart is more attracted to the sewage kind of things. So we just keep on harping on it. And for them, okay, which is done. Lord have forgiven him. There is no question of keep on talking about what had happened in the past or the wrong. It just doesn't happen among the saintly circles. It just never happens. Therefore, it is said forgiveness is the quality of a sadhu.
So Prabhuji, this explains why does it happen like that with us. My question is, how do we overcome that? Like,
become a
how
sadhu.
do we?
That's what I just said. Forgiveness is the quality of sadhu. Become a sadhu. How does it happen? Because our mind has to change, right? Our mind has to change. Our mind has to move from narrow-mindedness, selfishness, aham mameti concept, from I concept to we concept, Vasudeva Kutumbakam concept. We have to move there. Unless we become broad-minded, unless we move to that level of consciousness, it's just not going to change. You're getting the point now? And we all have a lot of homework to do. Because we are part of this world, we all have had same training, same upbringing in the sense of, this is what we have heard from people, and we all are attracted to such things. So we have a lot of homework to do about it. Just like
especially pointing to, like you also give this example now always, that हम देखते हैं कि families में कई सारे बड़े-बड़े members होते हैं जो बहुत सालों से हम देखते हैं कुछ ना कुछ सही बट जाप कर रहे हैं, भगवान का कर रहे हैं, but you always see कि उनके behavior में कुछ change नहीं आता. So then and they end up doing or saying some things which are really not good, and then it becomes really difficult कि इसको कैसे बोल दे कि ऐसे बोला, मतलब this was not expected. अगर तुम इतना ये करते हो और खुद को spiritual समझते हो, so this was not expected from you. It becomes really very difficult. I hope I'm able to convey my point. Forgive in this sense, forget what they said and maintain that same respect. Like एक बारी तो चलो थोड़े काल के प्रभाव से भूल भी जाए, but वो respect नहीं रहता फिर मन में.
Correct. You're missing a little point here. It doesn't work like this. Again, in case of Brahmaji repented. But in your case, that you're describing a case, here a person has not acknowledged only that he has made a mistake. In case of Brahmaji, he acknowledged, he accepted that I made a mistake. Then he becomes the recipient of forgiveness.
Okay.
He took the reformatory punishment, and that's how he was allowed to continue in his position. You are talking of a case which is a little different, where somebody does certain thing, but they don't even acknowledge, they don't even undergo reformation. How do we forgive? Who is asking you to forgive such people?
So it's okay if you don't have that much respect as we had before. Like what can we do? It's
just but natural it will happen. Nah? For example, let's say Bharat and Shatrughan. Didn't they become upset at their mother Kaikai?
Yes.
They are Vishnu avatars, Vishnu expansions. Then they became upset and angry at Kaikai.
But Prabhuji, they became upset, but later on that grudge was not there. Like as far as ऐसा तो नहीं था कि बाद में भी उन्होंने.
See, again you're missing the point. At least from your case.
Because she had accepted her mistake. Got it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a vital point, na? Kaikai had undergone a change of heart. So point of here is somebody have accepted. Yet if you're not forgiving, then you are cruel-hearted. Somebody have accepted it. Somebody is willing to change. So we come from a culture we forgive. and give opportunity for that person to move forward. Not we keep him tied within our mind, thinking that "Arey, tu to sinful aadmi, kaise kar sakta?" That's our difference.
So it's
All right?
normal if they don't acknowledge their mistake, and then we are not having that much thing. So it's normal. It's fine.
I mean, it's just a natural response. How can you kind of forgive?
Yes.
Because if you forgive, what's the point? They'll hurt you again tomorrow by doing the same
Yes.
behavior. Okay.
Yes.
One
Thank you so much.
mother of
Hare Krishna.
yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, in yesterday's class, TLC mein, you said ki if we want to read further about the rasas, we can read the NOD. But I had a doubt. In Bhakti Shastri, we were told that NOD Eastern Adhyay ke alawa, we should not attempt to read because at this level, we might not be eligible or we are not qualified. So what doubt tha Prabhuji? I mean, should we attempt to read or should?
Oh, no. Actually, that is a wrong way of conveying that message. If it was a case like this, then why would Prabhupada write whole of
Write
NOD
it.
and give it?
हाँ.
Just give the eastern part and published rest of the parts as a separate book.
Correct, correct. हाँ.
पूरी book देने के बाद कहते हैं पहला part पढ़ो, बाकी part मत पढ़ो. It's a little wrong way of presenting that idea. The idea is when you are at a Bhakti Shastri stage, let's say that level of consciousness, as part of the other books that we are covering, be able to appreciate the content more of the first part. And when you go to the later stages, later parts, that kind of discussion you just don't find in any of the books that you're reading along with it. NOI is also about sadhaka, Ishopanishads is more fundamental, and Bhagavad Gita is talking about surrender.
Surrender.
And then we're talking about rasas. So that subject matter requires further substantiation and further references to go ahead. The mood is different. I would in that way. Therefore, it is said for the sake. Is the idea of Bhakti Shastri is to stabilize you in your sadhana.
Right.
And in that case, when you're done it, when you're done reading or doing your Bhakti Shastri, then go ahead and you can pick it up now. But again, that subject matter would connect more if we get an opportunity to hear.
Correct.
If you just read it, those who love reading, then they might just read it and be happy. But it will make more sense. Somebody, or we can say, if in case somebody has read Bhagavatam or somebody is reading CC, along with that, you will connect very nicely.
Acha, got it.
These are companion books for that, as per my understanding. That will help you understand the subject matter and appreciate it. Because that's a subject matter of rasa and relationship. If it is not understood, then you might get disconnected and lost. What I'm trying to build with Krishna here, मुझे तो कुछ भी समझ नहीं आ रहा है क्या है ये.
Correct, correct.
That okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we conclude here for today. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.